On today's show, we go over a few key takeaways on some of the books that we read throughout the year of 2016.
Guys, please let us know your recommendations. We only read maybe 5, 8, 10 books a year, so they all have to be good. Let us know your best ones. Comment right below.
Broadcasting live from our Columbia, Maryland headquarters, they are founders of Hard Money Bankers, REI 360, and are international bestsellers with their book, The Whiteboard. Here are Chris Haddon and Jason Bailey.
Hey everyone, Chris and Jason here in our office doing one of our final shows of the year. I guess we got maybe one or two more. Today we are talking about our favorite books of 2016. Doesn't mean that they were written in 2016, but we happen to read them this year. And we have a few good ones.
Yeah, hopefully you guys as well have a reading list, and if you can comment below with some of the great books that you have read in 2016, share it with the group, share it to the community. There's always a common thing that goes around here that we share some of the books that we've read between us, some other business partners that we have, people in the staff, because there's a lot of books out there, right? And just because it's a good book with a real author doesn't mean that, it actually has good substance to it. So, time is valuable, and some of these books do take a lot of time to either read or listen to them. So if you have good books to share, please do. We're going to share a few with you right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because my reading list functions all on recommendations from people who know. Because the reality is I don't read 50 books a year, like some people do. I don't read one a week. My goal is always to read 12, and I usually end up around 8. So those 8 need to be hot. They need to be good, because I only have so many in a given year. Starting off with the first one, we both read a gigantic 1,000-page book that has changed a lot of things for us in business and finance and everything else, called The Snowball. It wasn't written by Warren Buffett, but it was written about him. I don't remember the author's name right now.
Alice something.
But it was huge and long. His whole story, many years, and all the awesome things that he's done in business, and it had a profound impact on the both of us, the way we think about finance mainly.
What were your two key takeaways, or one key takeaway? I have some as well, but do you have any that you remember?
Well, I'll probably go with one that we say all the time that's probably stealing one of yours too, which is, I don't want to lose or spend this $100 because this $100 is about to be 1,000.
Yeah, so Warren Buffett always had a philosophy that every dollar in his pocket was worth 10 times that tomorrow. Not necessarily tomorrow, but down the road, 10 times that, with compound interest and appreciation and things like that. And that was very important to him. So it was a good way to look at it, because a lot of people, they may overlook, hey, $5, $10, $100. Like, what's that real number before it turns to be like what makes a lot of sense to you? So like $1,000. So let's say you're flipping a house and you're $1,000 off budget. To him, like, he would go absolutely crazy, because that $1,000 is really being $10,000 off budget, because that's what, $1,000 today is worth $10,000 in the future. And that actually kind of leads me into my key takeaway, because we've been really kind of on our finance game in the last 12 months or so, and it's related to compounding interest, and really the effect of what compound interest can do, of how, a dollar, or call it like $1,000 in an account right now, and let's just use the rule of 72. So you divide your interest rate by 72, and that determines how many years it takes to double your money. So for instance, if you're getting a 10% return on your money, divide that by 72, the rule of 72, and then every 7 or 7.2 years that money doubles. So if you have $10,000 in a savings account right now, and it's earning 10%, or into some sort of investment vehicle, rental property, private notes, flipping houses, whatever that case is, you're doubling your money in 7 years. 7 years is not that long from now. Think about where you were 7 years ago. It was yesterday. So tomorrow is going to be 7 years before you wake up, and that's just at a 10% return. As us active investors, we're getting some higher rate of returns on some of those things. So the compound interest really hits home, and that was the rule, and that's what the Snowball, the book The Snowball was anyways. It just gets larger, compounds. He was investing in businesses. The guy owns freaking everything.
Hundreds of companies and awesome stuff. And something else that jumped out at me in that book is the way he underwrites. And it's very similar to real estate, either lending or buying properties, about how he's buying at a discount of current value and how he calculates current value. And then there's cash flow factored in for sure, and then there's also the operator, like the person running the job, which is just so applicable to what we do every day here at HMB.
Yeah, so if you haven't read that book, check it out. It's either, it's a several month read or listen. I listened to it. It was 40 hours or something like that, maybe even longer. So, all right, cool. What else you got? That was a good one.
I reread a very well-known and old book called The Richest Man in Babylon. because again, we were on our finance thing and just really getting dialed into that side of our business and personal lives and everything else. And yeah, some of the principles in that book, I mean.
That was another one I actually did. I think those are the only two books that we overlap in the entire year. But I did listen to that one again, and that one's such an easy listen or a quick read because I think it's, 2 hours. I mean, it's a really small book about cherishing money. Richest Man in Babylon was technically a hard money lender. It's part of the things they talk about. So interesting concepts they talk about, real estate they talk about, being landowners and things like that. So definitely check that out as well.
For sure. Okay, another one that I read, and this is not directly a business book, but you can certainly apply the lessons in this book to what everyone does, everyone's lives really. It's called Golf is Not a Game of Perfect by Bob Rotella, and it's about the psychological mental game in golf, which is a super hard sport. I'm not going to sit here talking about golf the whole time, but one great takeaway from this book is having to do with your own self-talk, the things that you say to yourself about who you are, what you do, what you're good at, what you're not good at, greatly influences your outcome and what you can do or things that you hold yourself back from.
Yeah.
So just the things that I would say to myself about, maybe I am good at this, maybe I'm not. I've been trying to improve that and not have some kind of negative self-talk that's going to hinder me in some way. So that, along with some other stuff, was a really good takeaway from a golf book, even related to business and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, Rotella's number one head coach in golf, and he's a master at that. I mean, just think about it. I don't know if you are a golfer. Think about being in a golf tournament with a 3-foot putt. A 3-foot putt's that long, but you get nervous over that thing. And a lot of that book is when times are tough, going back to the basics and thinking of, mentally kind of just bring yourself back, thinking about, you making that shot 10 times out of 10 times in practice. And, there's a lot of things in business, that are similar. So it's a good takeaway. So another book that I read that was an extension of some of the stuff we were working on this year was The 5 Languages of Appreciation. We had a group business coach for our whole office, for our whole staff, and we were trying, as managers and as leaders, we were trying to become better at that on a group setting. And as crazy as this sounds, like there's a lot of times that you try to figure out what motivates people and also ways that you can show your appreciation to people. And I think a lot of people think that it's solely money, and that's not necessarily the case. I mean, money's obviously a big side of that, but that's not always what a big factor of showing somebody that you appreciate them is. For a lot of real estate investors, it could be workmanship or the quality of work. There's a lot of other things. The tricky part of showing appreciation to a lot of different people is every single person wants to be appreciated in a different way. Some people it may just be dollars and cents and that's it. Some people may just say, "Hey, good job." Some people may, can I help you? So in that book, there was the 5 languages of appreciation, hence the title of the book. But I learned a lot about different personality types and different ways to, share your value and share your appreciation to staff members, peers, business partners, yourself, spouses, things like that.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm going to throw in 2 books by one author that I read this year. I'm about to finish the second one. Short reads, both by Ryan Holiday. One is called Ego is the Enemy, and the other one is The Obstacle is the Way. Obstacle is the Way actually became really, really popular amongst NFL coaches and players. And so both books use like a storytelling sort of format where Holiday is talking about things that happened in the past that in essence illustrate when ego really got in the way of something that could have been great, and the opposite too, when pulling back on that ego and seeing things more clearly led to some great outcomes there. And Obstacle is the Way is about the trials and tribulations of people in many different walks of life, in business and politics and inventor like Edison, and really, really cool stories. Short book, very impactful, very popular. Definitely recommend both of them.
Nice. Cool. So again, if you had any books that you recommend to the group, there's a ton of good ones out there. These are just a few that we've read this year, and we're going to continue to do some more next year. So maybe we'll even do another video piece similar to this with some of the other books that we read. But if you have any suggestions or comment below with some of the books that you've read, again, this is all community involvement. We find that very helpful. We'll continue to do the same. Maybe some other books that we have on our reading list we'll comment below on, so we can keep this thing going. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Until next time.